Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Bobby Saw Show. Welcome back. Everything is fine. Everything is totally fine. Nothing to worry about, everybody. Nothing to worry about at all. I don't know about you guys, gals, theys, thems, zims, and zers, but I don't recall anything weird happening this week at all. Whoa. Yeah. So we're doing good. We are doing very good. Yeah. Good thing the kids are safe and the country's going to be fine and nobody weird is doing anything weird or anything. So, all that crazy stuff we saw on the internet, that everybody was like, it's fake, do a joke about it on SNL. It's like, not looking so fake, but whatever. You can't talk about that, though, so guess that's the end of the show. So giddy up, and everything's dumb. First of all, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving or colonialism day or, the patriarchy or whatever you want to call it. I hope everybody had a good one of those because, you're on stolen land, says the person that was born in 1998 or whatever. They're like, I saw it on Now This. It's like, cool, your takes are smart. So that's always good. Who cares about history and what really occurred or whatever? Who cares about any of that? So anyhow, I wanted to start about. I do have a lot of topics. I do think we're going to go kind of deep here, Jerome, but I wanted to just tickle your bag first and just starting off by talking about quickly what I just saw on the Tim Pool podcast, which I enjoyed quite a bit. And I think that it lends a vision to really where we are in the actual human, literal, actual world. So I think these are very important times. And the more that I get into this game, as it were, the more that I believe that my voice is being projected. Just my voice, not anybody else's, just mine. No handlers here, not taking a paycheck from the globalists or the DNC or the GOP or whoever anybody thinks. Or from the DeSantis campaign or whatever. Just my opinions. But I do think that we're at this very, very entertaining moment in time. And I do find myself quite frustrated and like let down by the public discourse. And it seems like every day I'm just like, really? This now? Like this is what we're doing now? I do find myself very frustrated by it. But at the same time, you got to just kind of appreciate the show of it all and the entertainment value of this just like absolutely psycho situation that we're going through. So it's very entertaining. Now, before I get started, I want to thank everybody that's been buying stuff for Cyber Monday on bobbysauce.com. There's a 30% off sale that ends tonight at midnight, so pretty much within an hour or so after you get off the stream here, the coupon code ends, so it's 30% off any order, any amount on bobbysauce.com. The code is SAUCE30. Grab the Literally No shirt. There's a bunch of new stuff and also some redesigns of some old things that sold really well. So if you want to check that out, the code is SAUCE30 on bobbysauce.com. Help support the channel. I appreciate it. And thanks in advance to anybody that's going to buy any badges on Instagram. I really appreciate that. Or anybody that sends a Venmo or a Cash App. I really appreciate it. That's what keeps the channel going, even though people think I get some type of check from Matt Schlapp at the GOP or whatever. How does he know his name? It's because he works for him or whatever. So first I want to start, somebody said on Facebook, I've not seen any of your Facebook reels in a really long time. That's awesome. Glad to know that the message is getting out there without any suppression. Okay. So quickly, I want to talk about the Tim Pool podcast and Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West. I think it's very interesting that I think what we were about to witness tonight on the Timcast was a moment in cultural history. And I recently watched the Elvis documentary, or the, the biopic of Elvis, one of the most influential, important musicians of all time, artist, creator, however you want to call it. And I hope that people understand that cultural icons, musicians, artists, especially ones with great prevalence, live on and are more famous than really any of these politicians ever are. And what's so interesting about cultural icons, specifically musicians, for example, is that they kind of live in the zeitgeist almost forever. You know, people still talk about and think about Michael Jackson as almost as if he's alive, and same goes with Elvis and a variety of other people. And then there's other artists that existed, you know, that were alive 100 years ago, whose likeness has transcended time. So it's really interesting. You know, we're not talking about Richard Nixon all that much, but people are still talking about some of the most prominent artists and musicians. So I hope that people understand that somebody like Ye, whom I think that I personally mischaracterized in my mind over time, is likely, you know, one of the movers and shakers of the cultural world. And it's not even just America, it's not even just rap, it's like humanity as a whole. And one of the things that turned me off about Ye back in the day was him just being like, I'm a genius. And it's like, that's the type of thing that a very intelligent person would say. And I'm not going to say he's a genius, but this guy is a hyper intelligent person. And I must admit that my understanding of this guy was highly mischaracterized based on being easily influenced by the show that other people put out into the ether, so to speak, of what this person's identity means and is. I haven't really liked his music that much. I don't listen to that much of his music, so I kind of dismissed a variety of other things that he said. But in recent months, I kind of feel like what Ye has done to some people that are able to see past the garbage is he's kind of had the Donnie Ballgame effect, where it's like when everybody says that somebody is a thing, it gets people that are kind of used to challenging the general disposition of society to take a closer look at that person. And listening to what he's been saying a lot lately, to me, is like Donnie circa 2016. It's really quite interesting. And this guy is actually a hyper intelligent, highly intelligent cultural figure that I believe will go down in the books of history as having great significance, whether you like him or not. And one thing that I think is so interesting about people like Ye is that he has single-handed all right, here we go. He has single-handedly changed the culture to get people to talk about a hard to touch on topic. And I will admit that, you know, when I first started making videos, I never was really sure where this channel would go. You know, I never was sure how far my voice would get. I wasn't really sure to what degree I would be able to have any level of influence. I wasn't sure what all that would mean. So I kind of just said, let me just keep this going as long as makes sense. Let me give the people what they want. And as your level of distribution, and I don't want to call it fame, it's not fame, but the distance by which your message is able to travel and the amount of people that it influences, as it grows, it's almost like you're kind of chasing the ability to innovate and be valuable in the conversation, because you can see the numbers fluctuate so quickly. It's like people have these rises and falls in the cultural zeitgeist where you constantly have to be innovating, especially if you're like a commentator, for example, I guess you could say, which is, I guess, what I am. Who even knows? But a person that's creating and outputting things that are uniquely their own, whether you're reacting to what other people do or say, or whether you're creating unique pieces of artwork yourself. There's a variety of different ways to slice it. I like where I happen to sit because I can commentate, I can create, I can do a variety of things. I just do whatever feels right and natural. But I do feel this obligation as the channel gets larger to make sure that I'm innovating and talking about the things that actually matter and having very well thought out, interesting, and increasingly valuable takes, because you're only as good as your most recent piece of content. And I think a lot of people realize that as their accounts begin to grow. So one thing I've been thinking about a lot more lately is like, when Kanye started talking about these things that made him get ostensibly canceled from the planet, it made me realize that this is a hard topic. And interestingly enough, if one was to be a thought leader, not even me, anybody, you would have to essentially dive headfirst into those things and discuss them in your take on them. Not that it's the take that you have for the remainder of your life, or that it's the only take, or maybe that's even the best. But the reality of this game is that your opinion or your understanding on the matter is now entered into the conversation, the digital conversation, the town square, and then people can pick it apart and choose their own conclusion. So I obviously listen to what a lot of other people say, and then I come in to chime with my own opinion because, interestingly enough, that's the platform that happens to be here. This is what people are coming here for. Obviously, it's for jokes and whatnot and flappy duck dances, but I have to continue to innovate. So the whole Ye saga and the fact that this guy has been canceled and whatnot, to me, represents a much bigger and much more interesting conversation than I really almost like feel comfortable diving into, which is why I feel like it's important to dive into it. Because I feel like when you see a situation that's like a Donnie situation circa 2016, where it's like, how is everybody going at this guy simultaneously? You know, like, how is everybody saying he's bad? Let me go and validate it independently for myself that he is in fact crazy or whatever. It's like, the more that I look at what he says, the more it almost like outs other people that I hold in high regard, but feel like, or felt like, almost always had a really good take. And there's a few people I feel like are so emotionally charged by this conversation about what Ye has been talking about that they just find a way to dismiss anything that he says or anything that any person says, so long as they can box them in to this name and say this person represents X, therefore they shouldn't be listened to. And I've said it a million times, but conversations are how people evolve and grow. That's how we get ahead in the world, as we talk to each other, right? And I think it's so interesting how people are like denouncing this dinner between Kanye and Ye and Donnie and Nick Fuentes and Milo, and they're like, how could Donnie sit down for dinner? And I think that historically, the person that I think has the best takes on this matter and has consistently had the best takes I've ever seen is Anomaly. And it's like, I know Anomaly catches heat from people, and one thing I respect so much about him at Dream Rare on Instagram is that this dude is, I think, correct the vast majority of the time. I can't think of very many positions that he's had that I disagree with. And I think that the whole like anti-Sem label, this label that everybody says is Kanye and anybody else that's in his circle or anybody that dares talk about him or represent him, it's like, is there another label in public life that represents that same thing? Like, you can't talk about this group of people. And like on the left, it's like, you're a racist, you're an T-phobe, or you're a, xenophobic or whatever, all these labels where you just say they fall into this category of thinking, therefore every single opinion that they have from here going forward is null and void. And then they preface every single time that person comes into the conversation by saying he is X, she is X, they are X. And it's like, I think that this whole conversation about this group of people, who I'm going to try my best to not say the words in here, because anybody that understands this channel knows that I do my best to dance around the words. So you're going to have to fill in the blanks. But it's like, this word, this like, you're anti-S is like how everybody will say, you can't talk about this group of people. And it's so interesting that we've now identified this, like, it's almost like this much larger umbrella that is like an impenetrable thing. And all the people that have, in a lot of ways, had such great takes about, how the left characterizes everybody on the right or every independent person or whatever. It's like, this is a group that you cannot talk about. And I think that that's really interesting. And it almost represents and kind of validates a lot of the things that Ye has said. And I'm not standing behind him. You don't have to, you can fill in the blanks however you want, but it's a really dicey situation. And I think in a lot of ways, I don't really see what this guy said that was much more than a miscommunication issue, so much more than it was a hate issue. And I think that it's really interesting how everybody's just trying to like throw this guy in the garbage can when he's a hyper intelligent individual that has a lot of really good takes and is in a lot of ways like the Donnie circa 2016, where he like got into the tent and now he's coming out and telling us what goes on in there. So I think that all of this stuff plays into the far greater picture and the bigger narrative of reality right now, which is that the diciest conversation is invariably the best one. And love him or hate him, the artist formerly known as Kanye West has created a cultural ripple that's made this conversation in the forefront, and in a lot of ways has taken the focus off of a lot of places where I felt like we were spinning our wheels and got us into like the next tier of understanding more about the reality of this world. And it's not American politics. It's not the left right. It's not this party versus this party. Now it's like top tier, upper echelon, like global, like the larger global picture. And it's not because of the Jays. It's not because of a specific I don't even, what do you call them? A people, a race, a religion? I don't even know how to categorize it. Forgive my ignorance. I'm just a person that yells in his phone. But it's like, it brings forth a much bigger conversation, which I think is very interesting. And it's like in the way that the left, in the way that they say like every single thing is racism and every single thing goes back to like, the days of slavery in America, there's an interesting parallel between the Jays and going back to the man who shall not be named, the very evil, very bad man, who I agree is very evil and very bad, and say like, it's like every person now is talking about how you can't talk about this group because it reminds you of the past where there was slavery or whatever. And then like the same thing goes here. And I'm not belittling or downplaying the severity of these things, but it's like, isn't it important and isn't it interesting that we can't talk about them? Isn't it interesting that anybody that dares say that this is this, or gives some maybe a bad communication of a take that we understand, that person gets discarded and thrown away and gets depersoned like Ye has, I think is really quite interesting. And I think that, again, it plays into the larger picture of what really is happening in this reality, or this, what we believe to be this perceived objective reality, where we have a lot of thinking to do as people here on this planet, where it's beyond politics. And this is kind of where my mind's been going a lot lately, where it's like, it's not the left, it's not the right, it's not melted turtle Mitch McConnell or some dweeb on the left, it's not Eric Swalwell. These demons are all demoning. They've been in place for a real long time. And it doesn't matter how much we scream, for the most part, they're chugging right along. And to me, it's almost like we have to almost get beyond that, because it's like, then we're going like election to election. We're going ballot to ballot. We're going, how do we beat this thing? And although I do believe those things are important, what I've been trying to think about is like, where do I position my mindset in the entire planet and the greater understanding of what it means to be alive? Because I think that in a lot of ways is way more freeing than being free by the political side of things. And I think that that's a really important delineation or understanding that I've had in my mind lately, where it's like, how do I disconnect myself from all of the day-to-day back and forth and understand the greater picture and where I fit into it? And I think that the Kanye conversation and how people have been depersonning him makes me take a closer look at him as just a human person, as just a light being, a thought distributor, a thought distributing flesh cavity blob that just happens to give his interpretation, be it through a complicated and perhaps slightly, I guess you could say, poorly communicated lens of distributing his way of understanding reality. And I think that in a lot of ways, the genius of what I thought Kanye was saying about himself is just his poor communication skills of saying, I think differently than other people, therefore you should pay attention to what I'm saying. So I think that like in relationships, for example, like fights start through miscommunication, right? It's like sometimes you don't know what they're saying, but we have to interpret what the other person is saying. And I think that that's what's happening a lot in the whole Kanye situation. So what does this mean? What is the greater picture here? This is what I think we're really witnessing. Every aspect of reality and the bigger conspiracy of global control, I think the vast majority of these theories are correct. And I think that the one thing that the deep state, the cabal, the nefarious group of individuals that run and operate the entire planet, the one thing that they didn't anticipate was the largest archive and distribution mechanism of information readily available to the hands of the common people all at one time. And the ability for them to not only disseminate that information, but give high impact takes based on factual understanding going over a span of time. In 1972, when the photo was taken of Anderson Cooper's mom, Gloria Vanderbilt, in her room with her children, one of which was Anderson Cooper, who would become a large thought distributor on CNN, a distributor of what the truth is, right? There was a photo that was taken in her bedroom, and there's a very interesting piece of art that's behind them, and I told people to view this piece of art in my video today. You just look up Gloria Vanderbilt, Southampton, 1972. In 1972, that video's ability to migrate its way around the world, to exist in the zeitgeist, was it gets printed on a magazine, it goes out in a book, and the people that see the magazine see the photo. That means you got to buy the magazine. That means you have to be consuming that type of magazine. That means you have to be in that ecosystem of thought to even get to that document. Nothing is by accident, especially when it comes to things that stand the test of time, right? So it's like, she didn't sit in front of this piece of art. She didn't hang this piece of art above their bed by accident. They didn't choose to take a photo in front of that piece of art by accident. Everything has thought going into it. So to think that 50 years later, after 1972, in 2022, many people have never even seen this photo and maybe discovered it today when I mentioned it. Now, a lot of you guys I know are based and probably already saw it. But think about that. It took 50 years for this piece of information to make its way here. Now, think about what you would have needed to take that photo, validate what it means, where it's from, who made it, and then distribute that information to other people. 20 years ago, that would have taken months, if not years, to get that information out. And you could have been easily dismissed as a crazy person. But the one thing that the big picture maybe didn't take into account was this, right? The instant distribution of high-level thought quickly around the world instantaneously. The internet, right? The great equalizer of thought, the great distribution platform, the printing press on steroids times a million of the modern age. And to me, what it represents is a far greater thing, which is like, if the greater picture, if the greater plan, if the cabal or whatever you want to call them was to be revealed to the light, what time would this occur other than now? You know? Like what other time would there be than now for this type of thing to surface? So what I've been kind of realizing lately as I kind of get frustrated by, you have Eric Swalwell and all these demons on the left, like getting into power. And then you have demons on the right, and you have all these liars that don't represent us, and we're getting bamboozled on every single corner. The food is poisoned. The water is poisoned. The television's poisoned. The information, they're lying to us. The politicians are on the take. Everybody's getting bribed. They're selling garbage to people. We're literally getting poisoned at every direction. Every single thing around us is coming for our jugular. And we only have this limited time in life where it's like, how much time do you want to spend thinking about the deep state, versus living your life, being happy, hiking in the woods, getting sunshine, having kids, whatever is the thing that makes your life real. It's like, if there was to ever be a time where things could be changed and the darkness could finally come to the surface and the light, I can't imagine a different time or a better time for that to happen other than now. Which is really interesting, because I was getting kind of frustrated with how the political stuff was going. And I see a person like Kanye, again, like what he says or not, changing the way that conversation is had. And I think that there's something of great value to be said about that at this very unique and very interesting moment in time where so many of us are tuned in and all of the very dark aspects of our reality are finally coming to light. So I'm certainly enjoying the show. But here's what I think is kind of like the poignant take of the moment, which is like, I'm about to get into it. I would wager that the origins of humanity, the origins of our mere existence on this planet, is largely covered up, not necessarily by whom, but perhaps by a general ideology of keeping the vast majority of people in a subservient fear state. I think that our origins, the origins of the human race, are largely obfuscated from the general view of the modern world. I would wager that 90% of the people that are alive today have absolutely no interest in even thinking about this stuff. I would say 95% of people, even if they are interested in thinking about it, don't think about it much. I would bet that 5% of people even try to get to this level other than just enjoying their life and whatever else. So it means you perhaps represent less than 5% of all living people in the entire world. Perhaps all 5% of all living people to ever exist in the history of human existence, to ever even come to these conclusions, to ever even have the interest in thinking this deeply about reality. I think that it's highly probable that there was a highly advanced technological society that existed before our modern understanding of when human beings came to be. Whether those were extraterrestrials that came from some other planet, or whether we are the reincarnation of those extraterrestrials through however many iterations of Earth, remains to be seen. But I would wager that if there was to be some cataclysmic world event where all of this technology was to go away, the only things that would be left are things like pyramids, things that are deep, way under the ground. The only things that would survive floods wouldn't be things like technology. It would be like rocks, formation, marble, things that are, in a piece of amber that's 50,000 years old or whatever is the case. So I think that I think that the fact that there is extraterrestrial life, meaning people traveling around in the cosmos, I think is highly probable. I believe that it's highly likely that there is other life that exists in the universe. I believe that that is probably the case. And I would believe that we, like probably most living beings, are aliens to whatever land that we happen to be on. Whether this is the second or third or fifth or seventh or 7 millionth iteration of humanity on the modern Earth that we think, remains to be seen. But I think there's a serious case for like all humans were extinct and it restarted entirely. And I'm not talking like Moses, the Great Flood, even though I believe there's a lot of evidence to suggest that that is the case. But I'm talking like before Neanderthal. I'm talking like before Anunnaki. It's like, what was there? And I think it's such an interesting and poignant conversation to be had right now, considering that we're looking at this art that Balenciaga and these creators have been putting out, right? You have this art of these people like bent in these crazy ways and all of this sick, disgusting imagery. It's like, if you look at the imagery from these artists and understand that like these people are creating representations of what they physically see with their eyes or what they want to see or some iteration of what they've seen or what they've thought or whatever. It's like if you go back to a cave drawing and you look at what these people wrote and drew, it's like these people are saying there was light beings, there was people that came down on aircraft that came here and seeded life on Earth. It's like they etched it into a freaking cave, a million years ago. They talk about technology that exists, and it's like, how are we going to sit here on this planet of which we know absolutely nothing about, in this life of we know absolutely nothing about, navigating our way and seeing that 99.9% of people around us are completely clueless about things that seem so objectively obvious, like this is a mysterious magical potion from some nefarious company that's had a lot of really bad things happen as a result, and then on top of it, the global elites are using it to squash down and take every single shred of reality and safety and freedom and happiness you ever had. It's like, if they lied to you about that, isn't it possible that most people just don't get it? That it's not necessarily this nefarious conspiracy, but a convoluted compilation of a variety of different things all working in tandem? It's like, couldn't that be a plausible scenario? Because I think it is. So it's like, I think that there is royalty. Let's advance past Anunnaki. Let's advance past ancient Sumerians. Let's advance past our understanding, like lifting heavy objects using sound and vibrations and things like that. Let's get past vats of mercury being found in some of the oldest pyramids in Mexico and Teotihuacan. And like, how do you manufacture mercury 50,000 years ago? How did they even do that? Why is that there? Let's get past all that for a minute. Let's get past all the energy nodes that exist around the planet that are likely that have all these things in perfect alignment all over the world around these lines that align up with energy spots on the earth. Let's get past all that and the fact that that's basically impossible, that could have ever even been the case. And let's just advance to modern society. I think that there's like a ruling class that has existed on the planet for a really long time that's been largely made that way due to money. And I think that money, essentially, or wealth, riches, power, it all stems back from that. Your ability to control things, land, people, society as a whole has been largely connected to your ability to amass large quantities of wealth. Or in a lot of cases, or originally what a wealth was resources, water, food, shelter, protection, defense, etc., technology. So it's like, if you understand that there was kings and queens of the past, and there are even kings and queens today, we even call them kings and queens, the royal family, right? And all this weird symbolism, this infinite wealth, right? All this ruling class where it's like familial wealth passed down for generation upon generation upon generation upon generation. You look at Queen Elizabeth and you go back into her family line, going back you can go back 1,000+ years, and it's like her great grandfather was like the richest king of whatever. It's like, to think that those people don't exist today, I think is insane. So, okay. Those people exist today. There is an elite ruling class of probably 100 to 300 people that run the entire world through control of resources, money, gold, wealth, information, access, relationships, technology, as a result of all those things combined, which is why wealthy people amass land, relationships, art, gold, resources, firepower, shelter, food, water, investments, and always are at the cutting edge of the information game. They create a reliance on whatever it is that they have. You need these medicines from me. You need this gold from me. You need this farmland from me. You need this technology from me. You need these relationships with other foreign nations from me. You need to be involved in my ecosystem or you're out, right? That's how they create and amass power, not unelected power. That's how Dollar Bill Fences amasses his wealth and power. So it's like, there is a ruling class. There is an epic struggle of who's trying to take over the world all the time. And there's these constant battle of factions. You have what I believe is like the group. And then you have the group adjacent people, the wild cards, so to speak. And then you have everybody else. And any person that has any level of pull, any degree of pull that might be able to transcend their particular class of people has kind of like two ways to get there: through the machine or through the people, right? So it's like, if you're a famous artist, actor, musician, if you're a cultural icon, you have more power than a person 20, 30, 40, 50 years your senior, because you have control of the people. Two ways in: money and power, the group, as it were, and then the people. Two ways in. any person that could potentially reach the elite class of people, the cultural movers and shakers, the people that can change the way that the world operates, the way that people think, which is essentially the most important metric of all reality, is controlling and understanding how people think in mass, because you can move mountains. Any person that could potentially get there, these people, the group, the mechanism, the machine, they identify those people very early. If they're a child actor, a child musician, if they're a Justin Bieber type low, they try to do a few things. They either try to control them, control their mind, get them on their side, abuse them, clear as day, emotionally abuse them, or corrupt them, drugs, sex, alcohol, pills, whatever, the wrong people, put them in the wrong place at the wrong time, destroy them through the press, lower their value in the eyes of the people, or bring them in. And they identify these people very early. And any person that can be corruptible, they sink their teeth into. It's the promise of money. It's the promise of fame. It's the promise of, if you can't beat them, join them. Here we are. On that inside, I think it's this. Dan Bilzerian, who I'm not a huge fan of, has talked about this. It's like, if you eat A5 Wagyu every day, eventually it's not that great anymore. When you're at that level and you're at this upper tier, the only thing that excites you is the same thing that excites a Nancy Pelosi. It's power. You're 80-something years old, right? And you've been in power for all these years. You've got hundreds of millions of dollars. You got family, grandkids. Why would you go to work? Because you have the thirst for the power, for the access, for the control, the thing that money can't buy, the ability to be above the whole game, right? You're not in tune with your own understanding of reality, so all you have is dictating control over these other people who you believe are lower than you. I think that explains a lot of these politicians that stay in power till they're 90-something years old, because it's not about money anymore. It's about power. It's about getting a grip of life that they can't control of their own life, so they want to control others and the world at large. It's like a creator, like a God complex that they want to have. They can't God over their own life. They can't God over themselves, so they got to control others. Push them down, right? I think that these families, these groups, they want to see how far they can go. They want to see how much influence they can have. They want to see to what degree they can push it, and nothing excites them beyond the most savage, like, unimaginable things for your everyday person. So it's like, think about the art world, okay? Let's take a step back. The art world, the guy that owns the company that owns Balenciaga, that guy, one of the richest men in the entire world. I looked him up today. This guy, I briefly dove into this, but this guy, he owns like Christie's, the auction house, or he owns a piece of Christie's or whatever. If you have a group of people, if all Bobby Sauce fans, if we all got together and we owned an auction house, an art auction house, and we all had money, right? You could create value out of nowhere. You could say this piece of art is worth $1 million, and then one of your boys could buy the art for $1 million. Then you could relist it at Christie's and evaluate that art at $5 million. And then one of your boys could buy it at $5 million as a chess piece, because the money doesn't even matter. Then the artist that created the art now can create art that's worth $5 million. Now you can raise this person's stock and bring them into your elite club, right? You can create value out of nowhere. Money is no longer an object. You could just use art, right? Then you can store the art in an offshore thing and never take it off a shipping container, and it's never even taxed. And the money can just sit in a piece of art to be reevaluated by your auction house later. Money is this infinitely attainable thing. And if you ever want to wash it, you just find some corrupted country like Zelensky over in the Ukraine, and you tee him up to become the president of that country using money by purchasing their influence there through advertisements and marketing and cultural leaders in that place. You get them to be the leader of that nation, that independent, autonomous nation that's not beholden to any other nation in theory, and then you just wash money through. So you could wash money, hold assets, control power of the entire planet. So it's just like there is no money is not a thing. They don't care about money anymore. If you have all the money, all the power, all the access, all the planes, all the food, all the everything, there's only a couple things left that make you ubiquitous beyond your reality. And that's A, controlling and power over other people, B, health, and C, an unquenchable thirst for the highest degree of depravity that could ever exist ever in the history of ever. You would eventually be so high on control that you would be willing to do the most insane thing ever. You know? So it's like, doesn't that frame it up for a little bit? It's like, why do you think? It's like we can't fathom it because we have a soul, because we're not in that zone. We're not thinking to that degree of sickness. So you're like, I could buy the president, I could buy the DA, I'm above the law, I can go to any nation in the world, I can nation build, I can use my connections to create value out of art, out of money, I can game the system, I can crater or raise economies or businesses, I can invest, I can buy out young cultural creators that are able to break through the zeitgeist, that are able to break through the hierarchy of understanding of reality, and I can co-sign them and make them mine by either abusing them, destroying them, or raising them up and making them a disciple of my depraved, dark reality. So it's like some people take the bait. That's like your Dua Lipa, that's your Cardi B, that's your Megan the Horses of the world, right? It's like these people are just out in the open like, look, here's me doing very dark, very evil things because they want money, power. They want to be in the club. They want their kids to be good. They want all that stuff. So the people at the top, they're like, got it. Be a distributor of my cultural depravity. Balenciaga, I was walking down the street, or I was driving to the gym today, and I saw a homeless guy, I believe he was homeless, wearing a pair of Adidas sweatpants. The Adidas sweatpants that he was wearing had an Adidas logo on the upper left leg, right here. That pair of Adidas sweatpants was probably $10. That same exact pair of sweatpants, maybe a different material, whatever, has a Balenciaga logo on it. It's on their site for $3,000. Why? How do you make a piece of cloth that costs $5? How do you make it $3,000? Through these exact same mechanisms that I'm talking about. They can manufacture luxury goods. Luxury goods are like the entry ticket to the societal raise that people are seeking. Cardi B, Cardi Garb wants to be in that group. She wears Balenciaga. They wear the designer to elevate their status culturally, right? It's a signal. It's a marker. Look at this watch. It's a marker that I belong in this room. Okay, so they buy the cultural icons, they buy the Kim Kardashians, and they make her wear Balenciaga so they could sell the pants for $3,000. Kim Kardashian is willing to sell her soul to be in that thing, in that mechanism. They bought her cultural stardom and said, we will destroy you, yay, or we will lift you. You will choose, right? We want your daughter to do this. We want your son to do this. In the mechanism, Kris Jenner. It's like, look at all the things that have happened in and outside of that family. Look at Kylie Jenner. It's like, you're the youngest billionaire, whatever in the world. It's like, does this girl even look happy? Like, do you think her and Travis Scott have a good, like a healthy relationship? It's like, think about that. Think about the things that Kendall Jenner says. Look at their father. You know, it's like look at Robert Kardashian, the original. Look at the OJ movie, like the tanglement that he had with OJ and all of the darkness that happened in there. Think about how all these things are connected. So it's like, think about the things that Kanye said about Kim and how she's getting chirped at by Hillary, right? And Hillary, again, just a mouthpiece, just a cultural mouthpiece that represents one piece in this big game. She's like this political supposed force. She represents this other view. She got into the club through that access because Bill was willing to sell his soul when he was the governor of Arkansas or whatever to get raised up. For his status to get raised up. He was willing to sell his soul out. That's why he was with Jeffrey Poopstain. That's why he was on the Lolita. That's why he was on the island. Because this dude wanted to be in the group, and that's the type of stuff that the group does. These people are all instruments of the bigger mechanism. That's your Kevin Spacey of the world. That's all these people that they keep in the stable. They manipulate their depravity from the top level of ultra depravity, and then they make them useful instruments of that game to rope people in, and then they use their mechanisms to hide those people in plain sight and rub it in your face. And the Balenciaga example of what's going on right now is them just being like, what are you going to do about it? It's right in front of your face, you loser. They think of you as such a low on the tier piece of scum. And these people are like so sick to a level that is unfathomable by all of us. And it's like, if you go look at the art in John Podesta's collection, if you look at all these things and all these conspiracy videos and you draw your own conclusion and you map it out yourself and you understand people and the world and reality and you got a good grip on your own life and you feel comfortable in your own skin and, you know, go down the line and you do this over a decade of time, you see a person like Kanye and you're like, this dude is a wild card variable to this hierarchical structure where you have an uncontrolled, free person at a high level of distribution. So they're going to latch on to any miscommunication that he has and use a word like he's an anti-S to destroy his likeness and any other thing that happens to be in his ecosystem. Because I would wager that what you're witnessing with Kanye is a miscommunication more so than it is a hatred. And they used a miscommunication or their interpretation of a miscommunication to arm all of their cultural thought leaders, so to speak, to suppress this one variable that throws a wrench in the structure that they've got running and operating at such a high degree. Any person that comes in not through the means of the machine, but through the means of the people must be destroyed. So it's like all the things that we think, all that darkness, all that sickness, all that stuff, it's like I would wager that when you get to a point, when you get to a cultural point or a monetary point, you're in a different room with different people and you have a choice to make. And one of those choices is dangerous and one of those choices is soulless, but safer, you think. Because in the objective reality that we think that we're all inside, these people, I think, this is my interpretation, were willing to sell out anybody and everybody else to protect their place in the hierarchy structure of this global game so that they could at least be a prince in the temple of doom as opposed to being a serf or somebody that was outside of the town entirely. There's your like Jay-Z's of the world, right? I don't know. It's like, this is just my interpretation. It's like, you want to be a movie star? You want to be a famous actor, musician? You want to be famous? You want to be rich? You want to be successful? You play ball or you get destroyed. So there's like only two ways for you to do it when you get to that point. Completely escape from the situation and say nothing, right? Don't play at all. Don't come at their structure, or be a steward of their message, or at the very least, someone willing to look the other way, and then we'll keep you up. Because I think that the control structures and control mechanisms that exist at the top tier, I'm not talking your people with $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, even $100 million. I think it's like once you get to like $1 billion or multiple billions of dollars, I would say maybe like $5 billion, of which there are a fair amount of people in the world and probably more than we don't know about. You get in a different room where you now have a degree of resources where they either have to knock you down a peg, let their businesses not interact with your businesses, or find some way to latch on to some miscommunication or some blemish in your reality or your past. Find the weak link. The weak link might be your child, it might be your sibling, it might be your parents or your friends. It might be something that you said years ago or something that you did years ago. They'll find a way to weaponize the fact that you're a human person with a track record of X, Y, and Z to use it against you, destroy you, etc. So it's like, the illusion of the money, the power, the celebrity, the high level of distribution, the legacy, as it were, at a point, I think that decision has to be made. And people got to be like, It's like, with Jamal Khashoggi, it's like this dude got clipped. And it's like, we all know the truth, allegedly. And it's like, there's Joe Biden shaking his hand. It's like, these people are above the tier. And I think that the whole anti-S plays in not to the bigger scheme. I'm not lumping them in, but it's just like any word that gets you to not talk about anything is kind of a similar, it's kind of like a similar categorization. It's just one of many. It's like how the left gets you to not talk about all the bad things they do. They say, you're a xenophobe, you're a whatever, I just think that the power at the time, it's like now I'm thinking like I brought that up into this conversation. It's like, I'm not relating them to this. It's like, see, that's how you could get hung up in a miscommunication issue. It's like my thought process in context could be pulled out and be like, look, he's associating X with Y. That's the type of thing that I think is happening with a person like Kanye. That's what happens with a person like Donnie. And I think if we can understand that this is the world that these people are playing in, it kind of frames up reality in a much different way. Now, if you understand all these things to be true, it makes everything else make perfect sense. It makes all the big pharmaceutical companies, it makes them make perfect sense. It's like, if you're willing to do what these people are willing to do to large quantities of people at such a high level, if you're willing to create such needless human suffering, you're like a psychopath, right? You have an unquenchable, insatiable desire for like all the darkness. And like how you and me, you and I have a difficult time framing and understanding how people could be so savage is because we don't operate in the darkness like that. It's the same way that we can't understand how Jeffrey Dahmer thinks. It's the same reason we can't understand how a psycho murderer thinks, how a rapist thinks, how a mass murderer thinks, we can't imagine that because we don't even, we are grounded our soul into whatever. So I think that all of the stuff that we see, it's like the truth is simpler. It's simpler than we think. And a lot of the truth is very obvious, but there's a psychological warfare that's going on for your everyday person, your independent thinker, to say, this could not possibly be this way because of 800 other tentacles of information that tell me it couldn't be that way. The people around you, the threat of the machine, the mechanism coming down and destroying you, the people being made an example of that break outside the mold, your Yays of the world, your Donnies of the world. But I bet that the vast majority of it is true, which is pharmaceutical industry, for the most part, wants to keep you sick and coming back. The food industry wants to keep you poisoned and coming back, addicted. Every other thing from drinking from alcohol to tobacco, all part of the same mechanism. The real estate industry, water, self-preservation, all of that, all falls into this same ecosystem. Your investments, your 401k, your social security, your bank account, all interconnected, all interwoven into this bigger scheme. Where it's like you have the dark, and then you have the cultural risers that can't break out of that system. It's all built. Then you have these fashion houses and these art houses, like I said, elevating the most depraved, right? Lifting them up, giving them, rewarding them for being part of their mechanism. And I think that the Balenciaga, all the symbolism, all the breadcrumbs that are out there, it's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle for independent thinkers to see so that they could either navigate their way to their side or choose the dark and treacherous path, which is the other way. Or option 3, do nothing. 3 ways. 3. The political leaders, your Trudeaus of the world, your Zelensks of the world, your Joey Basements of the world, your politicos on the structure leading up are all just regurgitating the flow to keep the mechanism growing so that they can get risen up. You become a senator that does their bidding, you get more money, you get more terms, you get a lifetime of health care, you get protection. You know what I mean? They bring you into the fray. You invite you to the parties, to the movers and shakers. You become artificially raised to a level that the cultural icons are able to get on their own via the people. The people raise the cultural icons up the socioeconomic ladder. The mechanism raises the other people up the ladder. So if you can't do it through the people, through your art, through your creativity, through your quality of message, the only other way is through them, through the mechanism. Politicians want to be celebrities so bad. They wish they had what it takes to be cultural icons. They wish they could be the actor or the celebrity. That's why you see them going to parties. That's why you look at a person like Eric Adams in New York, and this guy wants to be a celebrity so bad. And that's the point, is like they give him a taste. It's like if you've been sleeping with 5s your whole life and they give you a 10, you're going to be in forever. Eric Adams and all those other people, they bring them into the mechanism. They say, do our bidding, and we will make you higher up. We will buy your life. And then they leave breadcrumbs all throughout culture as a taunt. It's like the lion it's like the lion roaring to let you know that they're there. It is the breadcrumbs are a cultural and mental taunt to independent thinkers that were able to follow the breadcrumbs. Because they know that any person that gets there either gets there to seeing the truth, to seeing beyond what most people see. The only way to get there is to go through all this thought process. And if you take the left route and you go on their side, you get the social circles, you get the celebrities, you get the parties, you get all the trappings, the ideal life that they paint that you want. If you go the other route, the opposite side, you lose friends, you lose opportunities, you lose those things. But you have a better grip of your soul. You have a better grip of the real reality. You have a degree of transcendence that those people can't get to, which is why they have to be so depraved, because they have nothing inside. All they can have is power and resources, and in the objective, what they believe to be the objective perceivable reality, where they wish that they could have what we have. They wish they could be ensconced in love. They wish they could have so much confidence and joy in their life that they wouldn't have to be this way. But since they can't do that, it's like crabs in a bucket. It's like they just want to pull anybody in. They want to destroy the outside. They're like a merchant of the darkness. To me, when you see like these super depraved serial killers and all these people that do insane stuff, they had a sick and twisted childhood where they saw horrible things that happened to them 99 times out of 100. And their reactive nature was to destroy others. I believe that's what's happening at the highest tiers of power. It's like, if you grew up in this sick and twisted mechanism under this family where they're like, this is how it, like, you're in prison. The guy or gal gallivanting down the street in the sunshine is a reality that you'll never be able to have. And if you break out of it, they will destroy you. Because you've seen how they've destroyed others. Because I would wager at a very young age, they're like, listen, you are the descendant of the descendant of the descendant. You are a god on earth, so to speak. And I would bet that they say, listen, you will either stand for the family or we will destroy you. Much like they tell and communicate it to us. Except when you're on the inside, they're like, no, we will destroy you. And imagine being a child and having to make that decision, which is why they understand all the psychological games of how to get these people in at a young age. Can you imagine the things that Anderson Cooper saw as a kid? I don't know. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that that's the bigger battle. That's the good versus evil. It's not this political trap. It's actually simpler than we think. And all the breadcrumbs are out there if you dare to follow them. So this moment in time, I'm trying to make sure that I don't get hung up on the elections or the, politician of the moment or the day-to-day bickering in the bottom tier of reality. And I believe that people like Ye have transcended to the next degree of understanding, but might not be as good at communicating it. So they get mischaracterized through slip-ups in their communication. And those are weaponized against them to destroy them based on the fact that they're not playing in the binary world, the left side that they want everybody in so that they can retain power and control. These families are not affected by inflation, war, famine, natural disasters, health issues, the trappings of a job, money, access, none of those things. There's a new medication that just came out a couple days ago. I was about to make a video about it for this blood disease where your bloodstream doesn't make the proteins necessary to clot your blood, hemo something or other. One dose of this is a cure, and it's $3.5 million. It's the most expensive medical dose that exists, beating the previously most expensive medical dose, which was $2 million. Beat it by $1.5 million for one dose. If you're a person that has $1 trillion, this degree of medicine was available to you probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because it just got FDA approved, right? The FDA, again, part of the mechanism. All right, let him have it. It's $3.5 million. A person that can create a $3.5 million piece of art by just putting it at Christie's and someone else creating it, there is no object for money. And one of the great lessons, there's like breadcrumbs in reality, right? One of the great lessons is back in the day, I used to sell a lot of stuff on eBay. there's an eBay scheme where people would basically have people that were in their their web of people bid on their items. I list an item that's $1,000. Somebody bids it to $1,200. Next guy bids it to $1,400. You end up selling it for $1,600 or $1,800. The other person in your web bid the product price up, and then you sold it to some guy for the $1,600. And if the winner of the bid was your guy, then you just didn't sell it. You don't take the $1,600 from him, and you just relist it again later. It's called like bid shilling or something. I forget. But that's the type of thing that's happening at the highest degrees of power. It's like I think it's Occam's razor is the expression. It's like the simplest thing is usually the thing, the simplest theory. It's like there's a small group of very powerful financial families that run the entire planet that do exactly what I just said. You're either in or you're out. And they run the entire world as far as we know it. And all of these things where they've created this very sophisticated psyop to convince people to beg for their own subservience is all part of their greater scheme. So it's like our job as people that were to, I think in a lot of ways, contribute to the saving of humanity's freedom. We got placed here at this very unique moment in time to be distributors of the truth and beacons of light. And if we could come to the challenge in the yin and yang duality of this existence and say, I'm not going to sell my soul to these demons, 1 + 1 + 1 adds up fairly quickly. And you can step out of the conversation entirely, which some people choose to do. You can sell your soul to them, which you think will be rewarding, but will actually be to your own demise. It's a trick. It's like the devil, Or you can choose the side of the light. And it's like, you can be a truth distributor. You can be a light distributor. And most importantly, you can be what they wish they could be, which is joyous, happy. Something that no amount of money, power, or whatever will ever get you. It's like chasing the dragon. It's like heroin to them. Like, no amount of heroin will ever make you as happy as a person who has no heroin at all. That's kind of the point, I think. So when I look at the big picture of life, it brings me back to that where I'm like, most of this stuff is a trap. And the best that we can do, aside from all the other things that I've said over the course of this channel over the last few years, is like, know that that's the game we're in and figure out how to beat them at their own game. And I think being a person that spreads and shares the light will ultimately stand the test of time far better than any of these people ever will. And, I used to think that having a yacht or whatever was like the ultimate goal. But the older that I get, the more that I realize that that's what they think the ultimate goal is. And as nice as that would be, fulfillment, joy, and peace with the universe is actually a far more important goal, interestingly enough. So what I think this message is intended to do is to remind us that the trap and the box that they're putting Donnie and Kanye in right now is exactly that. It's a trap. And like, for people to dismiss Kanye, specifically people that are thought leaders, because they don't like what he said in X, Y, or Z example, I think is a inability to learn, evolve, and grow. They lose touch with the greater game. Because I watched what Kanye said, and I think it was more of a miscommunication than it was hate. I don't think it was hate at all. I think it was a miscommunication of a bigger point that he had a challenging time to describe. And I think the fact that everybody, not everybody, but so many people have been so quick to just dismiss him as a result of that, I think to me is telling of their how tuned in they are to the real big picture. And like one person that I really always thought was so on point with so many things was Ben Shapiro. And like, I've always looked up to Ben Shapiro. I thought I think he's a brilliant guy. And it's like his take on the Kanye stuff to me represents a hole in his game that reminds me how human all of us are. And that even though one person may be at a different place in the totem pole or in the game of life, so to speak, nobody is nobody is perfect, and that we all have a spot at the table, so to speak, of what is really occurring here. And I think that I would implore people to take a closer look at people like Ye to realize that a lot of this stuff is a non-real trap that's ultimately keeping us further distanced from the real truth of our reality, which is that I do believe that there are like 3 classifications, maybe 4 classifications of people in the entire world, maybe 5. One is the highest upper echelon, the group, the mechanism, the top hall of power, who I've been talking about extensively. The high-level cultural class that's on their way or about to be up there, that's deciding which side they want to be on. The thought leaders, the artists, the creatives, the musicians, whoever. The same side on the other side, the people that are being lifted by the mechanism. All right, that's 1, 2, 3. The 4th part is all the people that choose not to participate at all. And I would consider that to be people that can understand, choose not to understand, or the people that live in a tribe in a country in Africa. The I don't know, that tier, whatever you want to call them. And it's like, that's everybody. So as you lock in to this upper 5% of people that really even know or even care or think about what's going on in the world, picking that side of where you want to go is very important. And I think that this moment in history, this moment in time, is such a really interesting crossroads of that for so many people, no matter where they are in life. Whether you're a young person or an older person or whatever you think of when I say young or whatever I think of when you say old. So I'm actually excited by it all. And I think that sometimes it's important to remind myself of the things that I say to all of you, which is that, and I've said this many, many times, we grossly underestimate the power of our own thoughts and our own words and our own actions. And how we choose to live and where we choose to fall on this theoretical grid of all these people, it kind of ripples through the people that are around us. And I think it's just so interesting that this group of people, all of you that are here listening and watching this, are all part of that journey for me, and I'm just part of that journey for you. You might be on the other side of this creating. You might be on the other side of this researching. You may have your own opinions, and I am just one messenger in your vast pool of information and knowledge of how to navigate life. And I'm so thankful that I have that position in your mind, and even more importantly, that you have that position in my mind, that I have the ability to reach all of you to circle that thought process back to me. There's such an interesting thought and idea loop that exists here in this ecosystem. That's just one of many pieces of your life and your thought process that's so interesting to engage with, that I'm fascinated by. And I'm so thankful that you are all here to be a part of and listen to this particular understanding of the reality as we know it right now. There's 150 people watching on Instagram, 127 on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok, or in Twitter or Twitch, and there's another 90 people watching on TikTok. It's really interesting. And 10,000 plus people will listen to it later. But all I have to say to kind of like wrap it up in a bow is we have more control over this reality, I think, than we understand. We have more control over how we interpret what's occurring right now than we think. What we say and how we regurgitate our viewpoint of the current day's happenings is really important. And I think that each day and each individual task that we navigate is another challenge to, can we get smarter? Can we get better? Can we change and improve our life? And what does the improvement of that life look like? And how will it affect other people in one way, shape, or another? So I am optimistic that life is very much akin to a video game, in that it may seem like an insurmountable task, but we are presented with a challenge and a set of tools that will arm us properly to complete the game if navigated correctly, on time, with patience, and with diligent focus. If we realize that we are in a game and we have this grand understanding of the world at large, we can interpret it in real time. We can take challenging conversations like the Yay conversation and throw our hat in the ring. And we could take something that is seemingly untouchable and crack into it for the betterment of many other people. I learned so much watching Anomaly's take on all of this stuff, that now I get to redistribute my interpretation of what I already knew, what I saw, what he said back out. And then you could do the same with mine. And through it, we create this hive mind of like independent thinking, interpreting the most complicated thought processes of the day. Where in previous times, those decisions were left to the people that had the platforms only. There was no thought distribution at the lower tier, which is like all of us. But now we have that, and the problems don't have to be solved from the top down. And the infinite reign of this power elite, though seemingly with a stranglehold on all reality, is actually losing grip as it goes, which is so interesting. It's like the power is actually coming back to the people. Like the grand power struggle of reality is playing out and unfolding right in front of our face. And we have this unique ability to affect it in real time by how we react and what we talk about with other people based on our interpretation of what's happening with this person or this situation right now. And by you consuming this information from me, you're now armed with yet another perspective that you may value or may not value to go into the conversation and change the way that the discourse is around X, Y, or Z topic and other people's awareness to all of these things. So this stream, this communication, this conversation, me, you, whomever happens to be seeing this, listening to this, whatever, is now one piece in this grand mechanism that combats the dark mechanism that seemingly had a stranglehold over the totality of reality up until this point as we know it. And that's a great responsibility that we have. I think it's a great blessing, and I think in a lot of ways it's such a valuable and beautiful moment in our evolution as human beings that we get to play a part in this big game, because that's what it is. As the great Bill Hicks once said, it's just a ride. So here we are on the ride. Don't let it get you down. Don't let them get in your head. These people are merchants of the darkness. But interestingly enough, the light distributors are the greatest threat to their continuous and never-ending reign. I do think that we are part of that change. I think what we're seeing right now in China, what we're seeing right now in Brazil, what we're seeing right now happening on the internet, what we're seeing happening in the town square are all just changes, all part of the game, all part of the great realization, the great awakening. They went over their skis. They're coming for the jugular now. And interestingly enough, all of the beacons of truth are now getting activated, perhaps not by choice, but by necessity. And how interesting it is that the great resistance to all of this bad is actually, in fact, us. What an interesting time. What a beautiful time to be alive. What a great thing that we get to enjoy here while these people sit in depravity. I don't care if you got a 500-foot yacht and you got all the money, all the power, all the connections in the world. You'll never be able to reach that level through any of those things. Your disconnect from reality, from the world, from whatever, God, Jesus, Gaia, the universe, whatever you want to call it, humanity, the spirit, is an untenable body and mind state for these people, which is why in so many ways we are already more rich than they will ever be. Very, very interesting. Look at us. Already ahead. How about that? So it's like, yeah, have your demonic art and your sick and twisted reality. We're going to try to make it so that you don't have the ability to affect anybody else. You want to live in the shadow of darkness? Fine, live there. But your days of coming and destroying everyone else are numbered. Especially if beacons of the light get activated and stay on it and keep redistributing and repurposing that message, that understanding. And I think that the entire world, language is the glue that connects us all, right? Words, symbolism, sound, vibration. It's all back to the same thing, right? It's all down to the root. It's like all matter is vibration. Everything is vibration. So it's like vibration, sound waves, out of your voice box, a word, an assembly of sounds that represents some interpretation on your end. It's like if I went like, ooh, ooh, or whatever, and you knew that meant fork, fine. That means fork. It doesn't matter what I said or what I did. The communication was there. That's why they say that these like extraterrestrials, they communicate using telepathy, using thought, right? A higher level human being would communicate using thought. Right now we use rhythm and sound, but you would use thought at a higher tier, a higher technology, a higher connectivity to your brain. I'm not convinced that we can already do that personally. I think there's a lot of proteins and whatnot in our body that we haven't even unlocked, and that's a conversation for another day. But it's like, there's a lot of things inside of us that we don't even know how to use. So it's like, okay, The whole fabric of existence is all these words, these representations, these sounds, communicating back and forth, painting a picture so another person can understand. Communication is like the lifeblood of the theoretical connectivity to the universe, is all communication. So it's like, isn't it interesting that like sound and light communication is the ultimate solution to like so many of the world's problems? It's again back to the root, creating the right sounds and the right auditory distribution, the right mechanism to communicate something to another person so they can see the world from your perspective and then reinterpret that into their own view of reality. So it's like ideas, thoughts, conversations, people, how we're communicating to each other. It's like, that's the world changing stuff. That's the God. That's the interconnected web of all existence, is our ability to pass and collaborate information that keeps us all elevating our vibration to a higher view, a higher understanding of reality, a more evolved being, a constant refreshing, kind of like your body refreshes all its cells like every 7 years. It's like we're constantly recycling to get to a better spot. We're like a moss in the forest of existence. So I think that much like we may say, I'm just a drop of water on a big piece of moss. Well, without enough of those drops of water, the moss dies. Without the dirt, without the sun, without the oxygen, without the everything, without the CO2, there's no moss, right? So it's like it's all this interconnected web. So it's like, yay, Donnie, the politics, Balenciaga, the art of the moment, the communication devices, your social challenges, your life challenges, you break your leg, you disconnect your foot, a family member dies, a friend dies, a parent dies, a person around you has some such and such, you lose a friend, you lose a relationship, you lose a job, you lose a whatever, you learn, you lose money, you make money, you elevate, you go down, you're happy, you're depressed, you're up, you're down, it's sun, it's dark, it's stormy, it's not stormy, it's a beautiful day. It's all part of this bigger, greater mechanism that is the beauty and ride of life. And it's such a beautiful thing, such a good thing, the best thing ever, so interesting and so great. And we are far more in control of it than we think. And as long as we don't let these demons get us down, to me, it's like, it's all light. So good for us. I think we're having a good time. Now, with that being said, that was an hour and 27 minutes. I want to take some questions, or I want to look at the comments for a few minutes. I want to stick around. I've been trying not to read the comments, as you know. I let you guys, gals, theys, them, zims, and zers, chat amongst yourself. I try not to get distracted by the comments. So I'm going to start looking at the comments for a little bit. But before I do that, I want to again thank everybody that's been buying stuff on bobbysauce.com. The coupon code is for 30% off. It's still good for the Cyber Monday, whatever. The code is sauce30, 30% off anything on bobbysauce.com. Also, I want to thank the people that have been buying the badges. I really appreciate that. The badges, thank you so much to Gigi Governor's Island. Her name is Fargo, Redhead Bex, Pakibana, Spurdilv, The Realist 2021, and Walker French for the badges on Instagram. Thank you, Thomas, for the super chat on YouTube. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for being here. So let's check out the comments. Yeah, like TikTok always has the most toxic comments because, again, it shows like where they are in their evolution. It's like, I don't have any hate for these people. It's like they just haven't elevated to a level where they understand the game beyond all the stuff that they just heard. It's like, well, what up, Charbel? What's good, dude? Good to see you in here. Thank you, Jessica on TikTok. Appreciate that. Thank you, Eva on Facebook. Appreciate that. Thank you, Jackie. Some people on TikTok are saying we're talking. I'm really running a grift here. I talked for an hour and a half. It's a big grift. It's free for you to be here, free for you to watch a stream. Every piece of content that I have is totally free. Nobody ever has to buy anything. People choose to buy merch because they want to. They want to support the channel. They like it. But people, again, they just like live in just like a sad understanding of reality. It's like, tell me you don't understand anything about business without telling me. But okay. Yeah, people in the chat on TikTok talked about nothing. Yeah, that's why you're still here. Thank you, Napanam Prakai for the badge on Instagram. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Italian Girl 57. That's what's up. Thank you, Christy. Appreciate it. Thank you, the Bria Rose. People are saying what up. Someone said, "What do I think about Elon?" Thank you, Joe the C0 for the badge on Instagram. Appreciate it. Michael Joseph says, "Thanks for your time. No grifting." Appreciate that. Yeah, I love when faceless, nameless, like no profile picture people try to troll on TikTok. Like, you're hurting inside. Like, who hurt you? Thank you, Mary. This has been an amazing live. Learned so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Lane says, TT is an echo chamber. Hellhole. Yep. Appreciate it. That's true. Gail, thank you, Bobby. You always leave me thinking. Thank you, Gail. Appreciate that. On Facebook. Did I miss the meatloaf comment? No, I haven't hit him with the meatloaf yet. Even though that is true. I think the meatloaf is getting burnt right now, but yeah, like that's the thing is like people on TikTok, they just live in such a sad reality. They're like, he can't handle criticism. It's like, I'm here reading your comments. Like, what do you even mean? Little Miss Ashley, lots of love from New Zealand. That's what's up. Thank you. Trekking Fool, this was a great live. Thank you. Aval, how do you handle the frustration somebody close to you makes dumb comments and doesn't get it? You do the best that you can. I think that's the best answer to everything is like, you do the best that you can to try to communicate to them, but sometimes people are just not ready for it. And you got to just do the best you can to find the people that are susceptible to it and just love them regardless. I think that that's the only choice. It's like sometimes people just don't want to get it, don't see it. What do I think? Michael Joseph says, what do you think of Tim? He needed to realize Ye was going to want the spotlight. I wish they would have just let him talk, but I don't know. I think I'd have to give a longer take, but like, I think Tim Pool does great work. I think what they do is great. I wish that they would have let him talk more. I understand how he got pissed, but whatever. Thank you, Chef John. Appreciate it. I just think that, I think that like Ye didn't need to be there, and he didn't need to listen to their dissent. And if they just let him rip, they would have gotten everything they wanted out of it. And I think that he just realized that like they were going to chirp at him and interrupt him before he was able to complete a thought. And it's like, I could understand why he would be like, screw this. Like, I'm out. I don't even need this. He could buy a microphone and sit at his house and talk to us and we would all watch. So I think that's kind of the thing is like, he thought that it would have been a good conversation, but they tried to be like, no, like what do I think about this? It's like, and they use the anti-S. That's always the backstop. It's like, you are this, like, I'm not going to let you say that. It's like, what did you let him even say anything? And like, I'm not criticizing Tim Pool. It's like, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback and look from the outside in and be like, he should have done this. I just wish that they would have just let him rip. But I don't think that anybody necessarily like did anything wrong. I think that the way that Tim's tone was for that one sentence that got him, that bothered him, like watching it back now, I get it. I think that the way that Tim phrased his responses, he's like, I don't say they like you say they. I think that was like a subtle, like backdoor miscommunication, like not intentional dig from Tim to be like, you guys see it like this and I don't see it like that. It's almost like a pissing contest, like who's more virtuous. So I think that he just stumbled on that. And I was like I said, I don't hold Tim accountable. I think he does a great job. And I think he just kind of screwed that up. But should Ye have reacted that way? I mean, it's like he was already there. I don't know. The whole thing is stupid. I wish that they would have just let it keep going, but it is what it is. I don't really watch that much Tim Pool. I mean, like I've watched some of his stuff, but I don't watch every episode. I like a lot of it, but I don't, you know, it's it's I don't like religiously, so I don't know Tim's takes on a lot of things. I just know that it's very popular and a lot of people like it, and I watch it sometimes. I listen to it in the background, but I do feel like there's a lot of like really long conversations that I'm just like, I don't really want to listen to this particular opinion on this matter. Like, I really value Luke's opinion and I value Tim's opinion a lot, and usually the guests I think are very valuable, but sometimes some of the other guests I'm just like, I don't really know that I don't really care about this person's take. Not to downplay them, it's just like sometimes I just want just the one take. That's kind of why I like doing these shows by myself. It's like, it's just my take. If you don't like it, you could dip. I don't care. It doesn't really matter to me. Obviously, I want you to get value from it and be entertained, obviously, and for it to be, purposeful. But I don't. Sometimes it's like I don't know. I don't want to do anything but give just my take on it. Michael said, I like Tim, but he's a little cocky. He has to run his show where he gets irritated. Like I said, it's like, it's the nature of the game. It's like, you kind of have to be a certain type of way to get to a level like he's gotten. You have to be, people are always going to have an opinion. Some people are going to say you're too much of the, there's a lot of people that don't like what I say and do. There's 50 people on TikTok. I bet you half of them right now hate what I have to say. Yet some reason are still there. It's like, everybody's got an opinion. It's like that, sometimes it's like we don't know the ins and outs. We don't know the context of it. So Torella said, what's your take on Elon? I mean, I feel like I've commented on Elon so many times. It's like, I think generally what he's doing is for the most part good. I don't agree with all of it. I think some of it's bad. I think the personal example of what he said about not letting Jones back on the platform shows a weakness on his side. But I think the guy is ultimately brilliant, and I'm glad that he's, at least in some respects, on our supposed side, in the sense that he's talking about free speech. I think that's good. I think it's beneficial. I think that's a W. Kelly said, stop once in a while and have a 30-second dance party. There's no music. At least they're listening on TikTok. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it, is like, they're here and they're hearing it. Sometimes that's all that needs to happen. People like to try to get a rise out of people because they got nothing else going on. It's like a lot of the times people will, like, they just want to feel like they have some influence on their reality, so they just try to chirp and be like, hey. So Twitter has more comments now. Yeah, I found my Twitter account to be a lot better. Like, my Twitter account gets more views, gets more follows. Like, my Twitter has reactivated so much since he started talking, or since he started doing what he was doing on there, which I'm so thankful for. Jackie said, I think Elon's not allowing Alex because he's being sued so bad. I disagree. I don't see how a person getting sued negates their right to speak freely on a free speech platform. I don't see that connection. He said he's not going to give it to him because anybody that does anything to such and such kids, whatever, it's like some personal emotional reaction that he has personally. It's like, free speech is free speech, dog. You got to let people say what they say. That's it. There's not a gray area. It's like, it just is or it isn't, pretty much. Have I ever wondered why Twitter is represented by a blue bird? No. The toxicity on TikTok comments is like so unnecessary. Tasha said Jones has been right about so many things. That's right. I agree. So confused about his Halloween costume. I don't know. Who knows? What up, Rachy Bo? Can I reach out to you and ask your advice about something? Ask it right here in the chat. There's this one person in the TikTok comments that's just like so sad. It's like a regurgitating bot of all the talking points. They're like, what about this? This is what CNN told me to think. It's like, leave the chat. Like, literally, whom hurt you? It's like, are you even around? Yeah, everybody has a take on Elon. He's a troll, I guess. I think it's funny. Do I think Sleepy Joe's going to make it to 2024? I mean, no. Yeah, Rob Reiner, lots of laughs. Rob Reiner has the funniest takes, like, maybe of all time. I love following his Twitter account. I'm like, can you imagine being this sad inside? Should I sue the CUNY, the CUNY schools for denying me my education for the last 2 years? I have an opportunity to do this right now. Yeah, I mean, I would seek legal counsel. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about legal matters. So should you sue them? I don't know. Yeah, if you have a good case, if your attorneys say that you should, I guess. I don't know. Maybe. To the very sad individual that keeps chirping on the TikTok comments, he's like, you can't take free speech. Bro, I'm letting you speak freely. Like, if you want me to block you, I'll block you. I've got no problem doing that. If you want to keep going, I'll just block you. I'm not the American Constitution. I'm not the Constitution. I'm just a person on Instagram and TikTok. Like, I don't need to let you talk. I can just ban you. I don't like. You think I care about that? I'm not. This is not. You know what I mean? I'm not Elon. I'm not running a platform. I'm just a person. So, like, yeah, block you if that's what you want. If that's the goal you're seeking. I'm happy to do that. Thank you, Rock Jock. Say I love your videos. Appreciate it. Yeah, so Jackie said praying for the Chinese protesters. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Cindy G. Andrea says, do I think Michelle Obama will run? I don't know. It's too early to tell. My opinion is just a guess. I would wager that she's not going to run. I think that a Gavin Newsom is a much more functioning and useful dirt merchant of the left. I don't think they needed Michelle Obama. I think Newsom. I think she's like an ace in the hole for the future, and if she wanted to play that game. But I would say that Gavin Newsom is like their go-to if Joey Dumpster kicks the bucket, because he's just like a greasy slime ball, just like dirt star. They're like, call him Mike. Somebody said on TikTok, Gavin would wipe the floor with DeSantis. Bro, I don't know what planet you're living in, but I don't want to go there, dude. Who said? I can't imagine that's what I don't imagine. I can't imagine having that take, you know? It's like, I can't imagine having that take. I can't imagine watching what's going on in California and being like, yeah, he's doing a good job. If I saw Ron DeSantis eating dinner at the French Laundry during the lockdown that he made, and I saw him doing that, I would tell him to eat my brown eye for the rest of the time. But Gavin did that, and they're like, go Gav. It's like, what is wrong with you? Like, how much sick and deranged stuff did this guy have to do for you to just be like, yeah, Gav's going to get him? It's like, get what? Like, what is wrong with you? I don't understand people like that. It's like, okay, bro. He's like, I'm standing up to, it's like, for what? Yeah, and like Pelosi, it's like they're cool. I follow this Twitter account that is just so insane. And they're like Thanksgiving, and they showed a picture of Don Jr. smoking a cigar on Thanksgiving, and then Hunter like smiling on Thanksgiving. It's like Hunter is an objective, like is a crack abuser, wrote about it, like literally, like done countless horrendous things, and like you're gonna make fun of DJT Jr. because he's smoking a cigar and his hair looks kind of messy because he probably had a couple of wines on Thanksgiving. Wine. It's like DJT Jr. didn't throw out his gun at a dumpster while he was on crack. It's like, what do you do? Like, what's wrong with you? It's like, I don't even understand how these people have these takes. It's like, I don't understand who hurt them. And again, it's like, I think that they're just useful instruments of the dark. They're just like, yeah, like this is giving me a dopamine hit of rewards. Like I side with everybody. It's like, imagine thinking you're the resistance when you unanimously agree with every dark spirit there is. It's like, what's wrong with you? But it's like, okay. Yeah, they it's like you don't see what you don't want to see. You totally are outside of the realms of reality, where it's just like, and like the puppeteers at the top, the people that really run the top, like I've alluded to, it's like they're like, yes, raise that guy's stock, raise that guy up, let them be an instrument. You say enough good things about Joey Basement on TikTok, you're at the White House. You know? It's like, here you go. Here's the stock hit. Olivia Rodrigo, for example. Olivia Rodrigo was at the White House in the press room with the President of the United States being like, go vote. Get out there and vote, to kids that are 16 years old, 17 years old, getting them ready, getting them juiced up, right? You know how many albums Olivia Rodrigo probably sold around the world the day that she went to the White House? You know how many singles she sold on iTunes that day? You know how many people probably didn't know about Olivia Rodrigo in other nations of the world but now know about Olivia Rodrigo? You know who told Olivia Rodrigo to go to the White House to do that thing, to speak up for Joey Basement? Her manager, her PR, her publicist. You know who told her publicist? Her record label. You know who owns her record label? The Darkness. It's like, hello, are we in tune here? It's like, don't we see the bigger picture? It's like, they run the culture. They own the culture. And I don't mean they like a type of person, a color person, a nationality. I mean the people that run the world. I mean the people at the top of the financial hierarchy of royalty. And it's not a person that looks a type of way or sounds a type of way or has a type of religion or an ethnicity. It's just the powerful monetary elite. Whomever they look like. They own all of it. They own the cultural icons. They tell Olivia Rodrigo what to do, and she gets rich for it. Hello? It's like, dude, who do you think told like Matthew McConaughey? Like Matthew McConaughey got hit up by the White House to go there and push the gun agenda. Matthew McConaughey gets his good boy points. He collects his good boy points for a potential run for Texas governor later. And then Biden and the mechanism will go and boost him later. And then he gets another movie role. It's a PR stunt. It's a game. It's all part of the machine. But if he got on that White House press podium and he was like, nah, we shouldn't do that, they'd be like, destroy, 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 destroy. It's like, dude, it's so clear. And then you have Zelensky, and it's like Zelensky, and Zelensky is just like a useful money laundering dirt merchant. And like when the truth comes out about what's happening over in the Ukraine, about these guys taking money and buying properties and assets and real estate in other countries with that money that they're laundering out of there from us, allegedly, it's like, we're getting scammed. And then you got like the FTX, like, how's that guy not in prison right now? It's like, that stuff was on CNBC. This guy was right there. It was all there. It's like, they're doing it right in your face. And it's like, and then it's like and Kim Kardashian comes out and she's like, yeah, I'm reevaluating my, it's like, she's just like, give me the bag, you know? She's just running cover for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they paid her to write that. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just like, we'll pay you $1 million to say that you're reevaluating the relationship. You know what I mean? Like, we'll pay you for your opinion. And she's just like, got it. It's like, secure the bag. Once you're in the mechanism, you do what the mechanism wants or you get destroyed. It's very simple. And she has kids, and it's like, and someone on Facebook, Emmanuel, she has kids. Yeah, you seen her kids? You seen what they did on her daughter's birthday party? Did you see how they decorated the room? It's all part of the game. They're all like in on the take. You don't get that ubiquitous and push all of the good boy narratives without being controlled by the mechanism. If you break out of the mold of the pre-approved structure, you get destroyed. That's the game. You're only a minute away from your next slip up where they clap you, especially if you've reached such a level of authority in the cultural sphere as her. And what do they have to weaponize against her? Her family, her kids, her sisters, her whole ecosystem. There's people around. There's handlers. There's an eye on them all the time. It's like almost a self-preservation at that point. It's like if you sold your soul to get there, once you're there, you can't turn your back to the king, to the emperor. You've already sold yourself down the river. So it's like, I don't know, man. Good luck with all that. Somebody just said Nicole Kidman is with Balenciaga. She has kids. Yeah, and Nicole Kidman was in a movie 15 years ago called freaking, what the hell was that movie called? Where it talked about all this stuff right in the open. It was called Eyes Wide Shut. You want to know the truth about it all? Go watch Eyes Wide Shut with Nicole Kidman. It's no surprise that Nicole Kidman was in Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise, who we know what Tom Cruise believes about the world. Watch that movie and then go see she's in the Balenciaga ad. It's like, hello, are we in here? Like, what? How much more obvious these people need to make it? It's right there, dude. Hello, like, crank my bag and, you know what I mean? Crank my bag and call me a Balenciaga baby, because that stuff's right in the open, Jim. That was like 15 years ago. It's like, there's a movie about it. It's like, oh, cool. It's like, oh, Tom Cruise wears a creepazoid mask and goes into some, I'll never forget that scene. It's like burned into my memory until the end of time. He like goes in that big castle and it's like, and he's looking around. There's like all this orgy stuff going on and like all this creepazoid stuff. And it's like the only thing missing from that was it wasn't just like older chicks. It was like, you know what I mean? You know what it was? The youths. I like, hello, like what's upstairs? I'm sure it's a woman of age. Okay. It's like, yeah, freaking Prince Andrew's up there with some freaking, you know, some kid that just got out of freaking middle school and he's just like, it's like, that's what's really going on. You just got to see beyond, you know, but people are like, oh, it must be some magical. You don't think that's what's his guts? What was his name? Madison Cawthorn said that he got invited to orgies when he was in Congress, and that's why they zapped him. They're like, you're out of the mechanism. They're like, goodbye. He was like, yeah, I got invited to some creepazoid parties, and they're like, you're out. It's so, I mean, I don't know. And like, that's the whole thing, is like they hide in plain sight. You could watch in movies and music, it's all there. And I heard such an interesting take from a couple people that I know that are in the game, in the industry, as it were. And it's like, it's all part of the charade, right? It's like I'll use an example, like a public example. Pete Davidson and Emily Ratajkowski are supposedly dating now, right? It's like, I didn't know about this, but I've been told about this. There are like agents for relationships. There's like relationship agents in Hollywood, and this is what I've been told. And it's like, you find two people that can artificially raise the other person's stock, and it's just a PR game. It's like Emily Ratajkowski has a young kid, is starting a new podcast, like just got some high profile divorce or whatever. I don't really know much about her. Her takes are garbage. And then like Pete gets out of this breakup with Kim, and like, oh, it's like you put these two people together and they both raise their stock together. And it's like, what's the most obvious place that they could be to get photographed and seen? Oh, sit courtside at the Nets. It's like sit courtside at a basketball game. Like the most all lights on, everybody see. It's like a charade. It's like if you were Pete Davidson and it's like you wanted to keep your relationship to yourself, which like any normal person would want that for the most part, especially if it was a new relationship. It's like people know you're dating her. It's like we don't need to see it in real time. It's like get a box, go sit up in a box or literally anything else. And it's just like, no, let's sit courtside next to Ben Stiller. And like Ben Stiller was just over in the crane. Like he's part of the whole mechanism too. He's a huge Hollywood, you know what I mean? He's big in the game and they're all in it. It's like they're all together. These people are not stupid. And it's like if you watch, there was like some candid photo that was taken of Emily Ratajkowski and Pete, like, oh, Pete and Rod are gonna hang out, and she's like on the side of the street, like, oops, like he pulls up his car and then drives off. It's like so obvious, like a freaking movie set. And it's like they tell the paparazzi that they're gonna be there at that time, just like back in the day, there was always chirpings of Kim Kardashian being like telling the paparazzi where she's gonna be so that they would take pictures of her. It's like, it's all part of the PR game. None of this stuff is by accident. They're all just zoinking us together. So like, I don't know, like, so I just think that like so much of this stuff is connected. It's so obvious. It's so clear as day. And like, when you really look beyond the curtain and you understand the bigger game, it's so much more of an entertaining game to watch. It's so much more interesting, and it's fun. I certainly am having fun watching it. Sorry, I'm just looking at my. I see some people buying stuff on BobbySauce.com. Appreciate that. Somebody just placed an order for "Shall Not Be Infringed" T-shirt. Read the Constitution. America First. Awesome picks. Just saw another order before. Shall Not Be Infringed. Women's, there's 30% off deal on BobbySauce.com is a win. I don't know. People should be taking that if they can. What's up, Natakami? That was me. Nice. That's what's up. Kathleen says, can I get the lift weight shirt and a long sleeve t-shirt? Yeah, for women or men's. Just send me an email. Send me an email, woke@bobbysauce.com. I'll put it up today. Just send me a quick email if you can. Woke, WOKE @bobbysauce.com, and tell me what you just said. What shirt you want. You want it in a women's long sleeve or whatever, and I'll make it right when I get off the stream. The TikTok comments are so priceless. I just love these guys. You guys are so good. They're like, the grift continues. It's like, yeah, a person wants to buy a t-shirt from my store. I'm really grifting. I made $5 on the shirt. Yeah, it's such a huge grift. Thank you, Kayla. Shirts made in China. Just in case you weren't aware, 99% of every single thing that you buy is made in China. But congratulations, dude. What a sick dunk you just made. So valuable. Made in China. Wow. Where's your iPhone made? Was it made in fucking Baltimore? Give me a break. Are Democrats and Republicans really the same? Are they playing with us? The best example I've heard is Republicans are just Democrats going the speed limit. I think that that's very true. I think that's a sad reality of it. But I think that Republicans are generally better 99 times out of 100. I think that they're more on the side of free market economics, freedom, independence, etc. But they're certainly not perfect. I find myself less aligned with the Republican Party establishment, as it were, as time goes. But I do believe that they are still better than the left 100 times out of 100. So. I do love when people chirp me on TikTok, though. It's so good. It's like, just say enough things and I'll happily block you and I'll never hear from you again. It's like, I don't care. I could care less. Oh, nice. Rachie Bo moved over to TikTok to hit the trolls. Love it. What's up, Valerie on Facebook? What's up, Rose on Facebook? Thank you. She said, I love your show. I work 7 days a week. Almost never catch you live. Appreciate the good work. Thank you, Rose. Appreciate that. Patriot Girl says, hope to see you at AmpFest. That I don't know when that's been rescheduled for, but I was supposed to go, but I don't know when that's happening. When is AmpFest rescheduled for? I'm going to look it up. AmpFest Miami, I don't know when it got rescheduled. How do I not crack up looking at some of these comments? It's pretty... I'm not going. I don't know what that means. You're not going? Oh, you mean America Fest. You mean AmFest, not AmpFest. AmpFest was supposed to be in Miami. AmFest... From Turning Point, I will be there. I will see you there, yes. I will be at AmFest. No, not AmpFest. I will be at AmFest, yes. Somebody talk about... Thanks, Natakami, for the badge on Instagram. Really appreciate that. Someone said, thoughts on Donnie versus DeSantis. I feel like I've talked about this a number of times. I think it's too early to say, for sure. I think that I have opinions about both of them. I think that they're both great in so many ways, and I'm excited. I hope that they go head-to-head, but I don't – at this point, I don't care. Like I want whoever has the right takes. So I would vote for either of them. Couple people getting kind of dicey on Instagram now. Craig Holland asked about Anderson Pooper's mom, and did I see Ye walk out on Tim Pool? Yeah, I already talked about that a while ago. Rock Jock says, I don't want to split the party, but I'm leaning towards the Santa Claus. Yeah, I mean, I certainly think he would be good, but it's too early to say. I don't even know if DeSantis is even going to run. I mean, it certainly seems like he will, but I'm excited to see them go head to head. Let the best man win. Let the best idea win. What do I think will actually happen in Arizona? It's hard to say. I really don't have a inside track, but the fact that those people are certifying that selection over there is, I think, is criminal. God, I have bad allergies today. Somebody said Lake is a loser. Carrie Lake is probably one of the best politicians on the national stage that we've seen right now. Her takes are pretty ace in the hole, in my opinion. I think she's a great politician, and I think she will be a great politician when she gets her shot. I think she's great. I think she would do a tremendous job for the people of Arizona, and I think that her political star is rising for sure. I think she does a great job with a lot of stuff. I think she's fantastic. I think she's inspirational. It's like, I've never really thought that I've seen what I would interpret to be a good female president candidate. I've never seen one that I've been like, yep. But I think Kari Lake could get there should she continue to pursue that over time. I'd say, like, you know, if she was to get in it in Arizona and did 8 years there, I think she would be a great candidate. She's got the, because look, I think that the reality is that the president is a person that makes good decisions and quick, decisive decisions on takes, and is not willing to waver based on the will of the mob. And then is a good communicator, which is willing to put themselves out front on the line, no matter what people say, to re-message and repackage that communication back to the people in a way that they can understand. And it's like, I think that's what a statesman is. I think that's what a politician is. And I think that Kari Lake does a great job at that as far as we can see. Emmanuel says, I want my daughter to look up to her. Yeah, for sure. I agree. She needs more filters on her speaking. I disagree with that. Whoever asked me the question about the long sleeve, I didn't get an email from you. Woke, WOKE at bobbysauce.com. Tell me what you wanted that item, and I'll put it in there for you. I'm sending it now. Okay, cool, Kathleen. That's what's up. Somebody said Donnie Republicans are dying off. Are they? They're just dying? It hasn't really been that long. All right, I got that one, Jamie. I got it. I'll put it in there. I'll put it in the store right when I get off the stream. They're literally dying off. Desert Skies, the only qualification was a prior TV job. Listen, that's the thing people don't understand. Prior qualifications, being a decision maker and a good communicator is enough qualification to be a politician. You just got to have takes. You got to be able to read and digest complicated information and take and make decisions. What's experience in politics? Nothing. It's nothing. Donnie was one of the better presidents we've ever had in recent modern American history, and he had no political experience. You don't need a political experience. That's the horse gobbledygook that they tell us to make us believe that some demon that's been there for 30 years grifting off the system is more equipped to do it than somebody that's run a multinational, multi-billion-dollar, organization. Thanks, Emmanuel, for the Cash App. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the Cash App. Thank you so much. Thank you to Nadakami, Joe, the CEO, Napanam, Namakrai, and the other people that just bought the badges on Instagram. Appreciate it. Sorry for butchering that name. Thank you, Emmanuel, for the Cash App. AZ is a major pathway of smuggling. Yeah, exactly. And I thought I heard a pretty poignant take today. I reposted the video on my Instagram, which was Ben Bergquam from Real America's Voice, where he was like, or maybe, I don't know if it was him, but he was basically like, not putting Kari Lake in there is like a win for the cartel. It's like all that bad stuff that happens up there, it's just keeping it open for him. Somebody said on TikTok, MAGA is just plain weird. Yeah, people that want to make the country better by closing the borders and bringing business back to the United States and love the country and love the troops and love traditional American values in the Constitution. So weird. So weird. MAGA equals hate and violence. Where'd you read that on TV? Did you read that on the CNN ticker? Thank you, Kathleen from Sarasota. Shall not be infringed. Women's sweatshirt and the mandate exercise sweatshirt. Good order. Love to see that on Bobby Saws. Thank you, Kathleen. Use the code SAUCE30, save 30%. That's awesome. Love that. $35 for a sweatshirt, for a custom sweatshirt. $35. That's pretty good. High quality stuff too. That's awesome. Stop cozying up to Supremes. Okay. Like literally, whom hurt you? Donde está tu cabeza? Donde está tu cabeza? Oh, there's Kathleen in the comments. That's what's up. Sarasota. You love to see it. And fight the PD with flags. Where'd you see that? On CNN? You see that on your CNN? I saw on CNN. It was that. It's like, where's the footage? Where's the camera footage? Why didn't they ever share that? Oh, I don't know. They just opened a 20,000-pound door that only opens from the inside. They opened it from the outside with a flag and a Donnie hat. Okay. Like donde. Literally whom? Whom hurt? Literally whom? Whom hurt you? Literally whom? Literally whom? Thank you, Bush Wookie. Appreciate it. How's CNN's ratings? Yeah, Don Lime's doing really good over at Clown News. We saw it on video. We watched the hearing. Oh, you mean the fake show trial? The hearing. Who was there? Kinzinger? Kinzinger was there. He sogged his pantaloons. Kinzinger is such a sad boy. Oh, Liz Cheney said it. Yeah, she's got no weird connections to any weird people. Halliburton, excuse me, pardon me. What is her dad, a warmonger? Ah, whoops. Whoopsies. Oh, he's a J6 denier. What do you mean denier? What's the denial? What am I denying? That it happened? Who hurt you? What's wrong with you people? He's a denier. He's a denier. He denies. It's like, yo, go turn on Joy Reid, guy. I listen to Joy Reid for my takes. I get my takes from MSNBC. These are the exact same people, like, what's her face? That goon on MSNBC. What's her name? Rachel Maddow. She's like, we are now learning from the science that the juice makes it so it stops with you. Oh. Is that what it is? Is that how it goes? The science? Oh, are you a denier? Are you a science denier? It's like, it's like the meatloaf is ready. Ma. Locate donde the meatloaf. You know what I'm saying? Christy said, can you make the shall not be infringed on a shawl hoodie? Yes, I can do that. Just shoot me an email real quick, and I'm happy to do that. The do not be infringed on the shawl collar hoodie, I will do that. Actually, I'll do it right now while I'm in here. And I'll do the lift weights in the long sleeve while we're here. They're the same people that are watching The View. Yeah, exactly. They're just like, I love Joy Reid's hot takes. I'm sure she just has those takes on her own. Hot take, Joy Reid. Joy has the takes. Joy has the best takes. It's like, literally who hurt you? Literally who hurt you? Who hurt you? Who hurt you? Yeah, The View is just a great time. Everybody's just sharing their independent thoughts on there. You know how they do it on there. They're like, these are my independent thoughts, I swear. Secret Sauce Society, that's the word. I agree. Yo, I love the trolls on TikTok. You guys are the best. Sauce's Illuminati. Yeah, Secret Sauce Society. We got Mike Crispy in the building. Stop trying to cover up what happened. Okay. Stop trying to cover it up. There's like 5,000 hours of video footage online. They're like, Bobby Sauce is covering it up. It's like, how am I going to cover it up? I'm like, that's an incorrect take for what actually went down. He's like, stop covering it up. It's just like, what does that even mean? You think if I have the ability to cover things up, we have a bigger problem in this world. It's like, Sauce covered it up. Stop covering it up. Oh, okay. Sauce is covering it up. Okay. Alrighty. Whoever just asked about the shall not be infringed in the shawl collar, I'm making it right now. It'll be done in just a second. You're lying about what happened. What happened? What am I lying about? What happened that I lied about? I'm just curious. Stop covering it up to your audience. My audience all knows. I can tell you that much. It's been what, 2 years or a year and a half since that happened. I guarantee you, all these people know everything they need to know. They don't need my take on it. Stop covering it up. It's like, okay, all right. Whoever asked about the shawl collar hoodie, it is in the store now. Make a shirt that says sauce cover up. That's a good idea. Sauce is covering it up. He's covering up the truth of what went down with his Instagram account. Rose said, how do you feel about the new investigation to Joey Basement? Are they playing the same game? Yeah, they're playing the same game. Nothing's going to happen to Joe. If anything was going to happen, it would have happened. It would have been done, happened. It would have been it would have been gone. No problem. It would have been done a long, long time ago. They're not going to get him for nothing. They're not going to get Hunter for anything. They're not going to do anything. It's all just a big charade, in my opinion. And I don't think that anything is going to happen to any of them. Whoever asked about the lift weights, putting it on I think she said a long sleeve. I'm doing that right now, just so you know. Lift weights in a long sleeve women's, black or white. I will do that right now. I'm putting it in a long sleeve women's right now. I'll show you the footage and tag you since you like to lie. Literally, who hurt you? Literally, who hurt you? Who hurt you? Who hurt you? It's like, hi, I have the worst takes ever. Hi, I wanted to share with you how I don't have a good take on this. Okay. Sick. Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm going to tag you in the footage. Do it. Tag me in the footage. I'm happy to check it out. You're lying to your audience. All right. Whoever had asked about the lift weights, it's on a women's. It is on a women's long sleeve. It is in the shop now. You can go and get it. It will be in the go to bobbysauce.com and click on new at the very top in the nav bar and look for the lift weights. I just made it. Oh my god. Yo, the TikTok comments, you guys are doing good. He can't take it. He can't take the heat. He's so thin-skinned. Yes. So thin-skinned. Emmanuel says, I have other takes. Patriotic citizens asking the Poe to call for backup. 100%. Absolutely saw that footage. A 100. Definitely was more like that than what they said. Is the footage EPs? Yeah, right. They don't know about EPs. All people know is what they saw on MSNBC. They watched a documentary on Netflix. So the lift weights, just so you know, whoever asked about the lift weights, it is in the store now. Just so you know. I just sent it to you. Lift weights, where is it? Where'd she say? Why do I imagine his breath to be heinous? What does that mean? Can breath be heinous? I don't know what that even means. He's hilarious, all right. A wannabe comedian. Yes, a wannabe. I just did 6 shows, and I have 3 more I have 3 more next week. What a wannabe. ABC had a documentary out in 24 hours. That's right. They did. Is the border open on purpose? Yes, of course. 100%. Of course it's open on purpose. They got rid of the Remain in Mexico policy. I mean, it's more than obvious. They did it on purpose. We're paying money to have stuff sitting there not being built. Emmanuel on Facebook, whom hurt them? That's such a great question. Literally, whom did hurt them? That's a great question. Da 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 da. Who hurt you? La da 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 da. Who hurt you? Who hurt you? Who hurt you? Literally, who hurt you? Literally, who hurt you? Whom hurt Zer? That's a Yo, Charbel with the jokes. That's a good one. That's so funny. I just saw that. I'm looking through the orders on the store right now. I saw that Jonathan left a tip earlier in the store. Got the literally no in 2 different colors. That's what's up. If you're on the stream, Jonathan, if you're listening, thank you so much for the tip. I really appreciate that. Whom hurt you? He's a grifter. He's grifting. Somebody left a tip. Grifter, grifter. He's such a grift. Who grifted it? Tell the truth to your audience. They're like, he gets tips too. It's like, yeah, are you okay? Are you guys going to be all right? Yeah, somebody left a tip because they like the content here. Obviously, like you do. That's why you're here. But yeah, it's like, sorry. Sorry that nobody's ever given you the tip. You've tried to give the tip, but she's like, nah. She's like, I'm all set. I'm going to go home. It's funny. I was in this I was like zoning before I did like a 90-minute zone or whatever, where I was going in deep into all this stuff. And it's so funny how I went there. It's like the story arc of the live stream. It was like all this depth. And then it just goes to like, just like zapping people on like in the TikTok comments. People just like being so angry. They're like, this guy's not even a comedian. It's like, yeah, cool. I don't care. It's like, you think I care about your opinion about my comedy? I could care less. I'm sitting here like thanking people for writing nice things, and they're like, this guy sucks. It's like, yeah, you're right. I do suck. Like, literally, whom hurt you? Like, your father loves you. $10 today or $10 next year? I don't know what that means. As I said before, it's like, if you want me to just block you from the stream, I'm happy to do that. Got no problem with that. Thank you, Kathleen. I saw that you left a tip on the thing as well. That's very nice. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Christy got the shall. Nice. Just got this. This shall not be infringed. That's what's up. Christy, it looks like you didn't get the discount code. I don't know if you're still in here. But Christy, it looks like you did not put the coupon code in correctly. And it looks like it did not give you the discount. So Christy, if you want to send me an email, give me your Venmo and I'll Venmo you back the difference so that you get the 30%. Unless you intentionally did that to not do it. Yeah, Christy, just email me woke@bobbysauce.com and give me your Venmo and I'll Venmo you the difference back. Oh, maybe the discount stopped because it's after midnight. Hold on, let me check. No, it's still good. I put it till, don't tell anybody, but I put it till 8 a.m. Eastern time. today, so it's still good till 8 a.m. Albert on Facebook says, it's been over 10 minutes and this guy has not said anything at all. And he is absolutely annoying. Good for you, Albert. I've been on here for 2 hours and 25 minutes. I'm sorry you slid in at 12 p.m. after I've been going for 2 hours and you got upset. Just leave the chat, dude. Like, congratulations. People are like, it's so hurting inside. This guy sucks. Then click X. Just leave. I don't understand. It's like, who hurt you, Albert? Like, what is wrong with you, Al? Albert's mad. Say what I want. Amy says, literally whom, Albert? Oh my God. I love how I love how my sayings have come into the vernacular in the chat. It's so funny. Literally whom, Albert? Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh. Does anybody else have any other questions or any other comments while we're in here? I know I've just been zapping the comments for a bit. I've been helping people get items in the store that they wanted. But does anybody else have any other questions? Rose Garcia said, last question, what's the vest thing you wear on your walks? Is it a bulletproof vest or a weight vest? It's a weighted vest from First Form. I talk about it often. It has a 20-pound plate or a 10-pound plate in the front and in the back, and I wear it when I walk outside at night because it makes the walks more difficult, and it is a better workout, so I enjoy doing it. But yeah, it's a weighted vest from First Form. Do I wear a helmet as well? Yeah, I wear a helmet and combat boots. Pyramids, talk more about pyramids. Surprised you have not made a hat that says that. A hat that says what? Pyramids. I think I should I should make a hat that says it's a weighted vest. I think that the pyramids are power plants. I think it's highly likely that they were power plants. I think that there's so much evidence to suggest that they are intentionally aligned with energy sources on the earth. I think it's foolish to think that they were made as tombs. I think that that's crazy. I think that the inscriptions that were written and all of the artwork that's inside of them is wild. And I think that there's something interesting to be said that many of the pyramids that or a percentage of pyramids that have been discovered and explored in the world have chambers that we've never even been inside of. And a variety of other technologies are necessary to see certain things like fake walls or false walls or walls where other things are behind them. Like there's certain chambers that have not been revealed yet. I think it's highly likely that pyramids were power plants more often than not, and were used as some type of refueling station for some type of craft. I would say that that is the most likely thing that I think that they were. From the passageways in them to the assembly of how they're set up. Like, it looks like a motherboard on a computer sometimes if you look at the grids of how they're set. And like the liquid mercury, for example, in that pyramid in Teotihuacan. But I don't know. What do I know? It's just like, to think that these things were assembled to be tombs, I think is crazy. They took like centuries supposedly to be built. I believe I have a lot of I believe almost nothing that people tell me. So that's why I'm willing to explore the possibility of other things, and I think that the the ancient astronaut theorist kind of theories, I like a lot of them, and even though I think a lot of people try to debunk it, it's like people also debunk, horse goo, from Joe Rogan. It's like, I trust nothing that these people say. I trust nothing that mainstream anybody says. I try to validate things independently on my own. Thank you, James, for the super chat on YouTube. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much, James. What are my thoughts about solar panels? I don't even know. I don't know what that would mean. I mean, I think that they're probably good. I think they're made using a lot of materials and minerals from China. And I think that China makes a lot of money off that. But I mean, I'm like pro solar panel, I guess. I think that's a good thing. I don't have any solar panels, but solar panels are a scam. I don't think they're a scam. My cousin actually installs solar panels in California, and he knows a ton about them, and they seem like a pretty good thing. So I think they're probably good. What is your mailing address? Go to followbobby.com. Follow Bobby Amorcine. Go to followbobby.com. And if you go to the very bottom on followbobby.com, there's a thing that says contact Bobby, and the mailing address is there for if you want to send something. Panels save a lot of energy costs. Yep. Man, I haven't done one of these long streams in a while. That's the thing about the streams that I have a tough time doing, is like, I'll come on here and I'll have the intention of staying for 1 hour, and I'll end up being on there for 2.5 hours. And then it starts to get zany. Somebody says, do I like cats? No, I don't like cats. I'm allergic to cats. Love all your content. Thank you, Kate. Appreciate it. I saw somebody asked a comment in the thing here. Hold on. Or a question. Let me see if I can get it to work. It didn't work. Somebody asked questions in the Instagram feed, but it's not showing me the questions. So if you were a person that asked a question, I can't see it for some reason. Thoughts on China invading Taiwan? I think Taiwan represents a huge threat to the advanced semiconductor industry. And I think that if Taiwan was to be utilized if they were to like surround Taiwan, for example, and try to exercise some type of control there, I think that the computers and cars and everything that use advanced semiconductors in the world would be in tough shape. What about Cats the musical? I don't really like cats, so I don't know that I would see Cats the musical. I'd probably be allergic to that too. Christy said, when do you think you'll be ready for another pup? I don't know. I would love to have a dog right now. I would love another dog, but I understand the commitment and the life that goes with that. Like, I had Biggie for almost 17 years, my last dog, and it's a lot of commitment. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of everything. Cleaning, making space for them, where you go. It's a lot of work. So I think that it'll be a year or two, a couple years before I get one. But I obviously would love to. I want another dog for sure. I don't. It's hard to live a life without one, especially if you had one for 17 years. It's really weird without one, honestly. But I'm not like ready to get one yet, even though I do want one. But it's a lot of work, especially at the beginning for the first 2 years. To me, it almost seems like I feel like it would be crazy to buy a puppy again. That's what I did. First dog, got a puppy. There's so many dogs in shelters that to me it seems insane to not get a dog from a shelter. It's like a perfectly good dog that is getting clapped. So I would imagine that if I did, I would get one from a shelter. To be honest with you, though, I think if I get another dog, I'll get 2 dogs so that they have someone to play with. I think that's really important. That's the one thing that I felt bad about my dog is that I didn't have the resources or knowledge to know that there should be another one. So if I was to get a dog again, I think I would get 2 at the same time. Especially if they were like related. That'd be kind of cool. Like a brother and sister or something. That'd be kind of cool. Amber said they got a puppy at a shelter. Nice. That's awesome. Do I think Russia would withdraw from Ukraine? I think it's a very complicated situation, but I would wager that the vast majority of what we see is not the actual truth. I would wager that what they're saying it is not actually what it is. To me, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around the following. The budget of the military of Ukraine, it pales in comparison to the budget of the military of Russia. You're talking a military and resources that are far exceed the capacity. So to think that they're somehow like losing this battle, it just to me, it's just like I don't understand how you square that circle. It just seems very peculiar to me. And with all the like laundering and all of the suspected, all of the just shady actions, I don't believe a word coming out of there. I think Zelensky is corrupt as the day is long. I think this dude is a tyrant, wolf in sheep's clothing. I think he's a useful instrument of the structure that I was talking about before. I think that this dude is washing redonkulous quantities of cash on behalf of the structure. I think that they're going to milk this thing as long as humanly possible. And I think that if Russia really wanted to end it, they'd end it. But I don't know. I don't know any more than you know. I just have my research. But to me, it seems unfathomable that somebody with a military 50 times the size or whatever as Russia would somehow lose to them. I don't know. And the whole like idea of America not being involved, like we're involved. I wouldn't be surprised if we have agents there doing stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. To me, I feel like 100% of what they tell us is backwards to the truth. And the fact that like our own politicos, like the Ted Cruz's of the world and the Kinsingers and the Dan what's his name? I forget his real name. Dan with the eye patch guy. I forget his name. They're all for it. They're all warmongers just the same. They're all for it. Finance the Ukraine. It's like, I just feel like it's total farce. And it's a total just money grift, just hole. And I would wager that Crenshaw, I bet a lot of it is just totally fabrication. And like Sean Penn's over there, like tickling Zelensky's bag. He's like, oh, you're so brave. Oh, here, keep my Oscar and bring it to Malibu when you're done. Shut up, Sean. You're on the wrong side of everything. I'm an actor. I'm going to go to the Ukraine and shake his hand. What the hell's wrong with you? I think it's a big money laundering operation personally. And I think that the fact that the dude is like constantly asking for money, unrelenting quantities of money, and there's $100 billion something dollars has been spent over there. It's like, where is this going? Why did you have to take over the state? Like, why is all the media state run? Why are you jailing your political opponent? You know what I mean? Like, why is there one uniparty there? Why are all those things happening? Why was Joey Basement over there years ago? Why did we install that dude in the first place? It's like, to me, the depths are way deeper than they're saying. So I just think it's all just a fabrication. Thanks, Mama Cheese on TikTok. Appreciate it. Yeah, meanwhile, Russia has like an absolute crap ton of gold, you know, real money. So does Jane. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with all that. But Joey Basement and the gang, they're like, we're in it to win it. We're in it till the end of time. It's like, I heard Luke Rudkowski say this a while back, like a couple months ago, and he was like, this war could go on for like 10 years. So I think that that's highly probable. Am I live on Rumble? No, I'm not live on Rumble right now. I'm only live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram. In 50 years, 5% of the real info will be released. Yeah, that's probably true. I love that you took my suggestion for your T-shirt. When you took a pill, building 9 didn't collapse itself. It's building 7, but yeah, that's a good one. Currency changing back to gold standard soon. Yeah, perhaps. I don't think so because they can't manipulate it. So I would say that's not going to happen, but it's been going on way before we were ever told years by the media. Yeah, I believe that that is also true. Did I already cover the Balenciaga scandal? Yeah, I mean, you got to watch back this stream. It's like 2 hours long. I really went pretty deep. Can't print gold. Yeah, exactly. I went really deep. This is a really, I feel like the first 2 hours were really good. Not that the last 45 minutes has been bad, but it certainly was not as good as the first part was. Get your boots in Rumble. I don't know what that means. I have a Rumble account. This video will appear on Rumble. It's just not live on Rumble right now. Centralized banking systems. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're trying to do the central bank digital currency, which to me is like a huge threat to freedom. It will be uploaded to Rumble when I'm done, Leah. All of my videos automatically go to Rumble, so it will be there. Thank you, Lucky Ree. Did I already talk about Arizona? Yeah, I talked about Arizona earlier. Emmanuel says, I'll follow you on Rumble. Yeah, go to followbobby.com and follow me everywhere. Make sure that you go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, and rate the podcast after you're done. If you could, I really appreciate it. And I'm on Twitch. I'm on Facebook. All my links, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, Getter, True Social, Twitter, every other place, Cameo, my website, mailing address, all that stuff is on followbobby.com. FOLLOW, followbobby.com. Followbobby.com. You need to make your talks more on point. Yeah, okay. I'll work on that, dude. You've been like chirping me in the comments, trying to zap me for like an hour. Yeah, okay. I'll do the best I can. Yeah. Dude, who hurt you, bro? I don't know what's wrong with you, but okay. You're glowing? Okay. It's getting dark in here. First cattle killing, now children. Yeah. The British PM is fully behind the CBDC. Yeah, for sure. It's very troubling. That guy does not seem good. Does not seem good, and people are all about him. They're like, yeah, this guy, this lifeless blob is the good for the UK. It's like, are you sure? I guess. Excuse me. Literally the meatloaf. Somebody said it's died suddenly, a documentary worth watching. Yeah, for sure. I would say it is. I watched it. I thought it was worth the watch. It's all just information. It's all just part of the equation. People are so nuts. They don't understand. If you watch something, that doesn't mean you believe it. It just means you're willing to accept that it could be true. I would suggest that everybody watch everything. You should watch any documentary about anything. You should be willing to absorb information from any person, especially people that they try to cancel, just so you can see what they have to say. Conversations and hard topics being navigated are how people evolve and grow. Nobody has a perfect take all the time. You got to make your take based on a collection of all these other takes, plus the research, plus your time. And you just got to do the best you can. So I would say, yeah, go watch it. Is there any truth to it? I don't know if there's truth to it. I just watched it. I don't know if it's true. There's a lot of stuff that seems pretty accurate to me, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if it's true or not. It might be. This dude on TikTok, you're so hurting, dude. It's like this dude has such an opinion. Why don't you make a channel? Why don't you make a video and say what you think and see if people follow it? Like, what's wrong with you? Why isn't anyone talking about solar flares? I don't know. Stu Peters said there was snake venom. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and who knows? Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. I watched it. I consumed it. I was willing to hear him out. Seemed pretty Zanzibar to me, but I don't know. Is it Albert again? No, Albert went ghost right after he was like, this guy sucks. They just left. It's like, yeah, good. Thanks, Al. You made the right decision. He left and he left a smarmy comment and then he dipped. Yeah, good. Good for you. That's what the internet's for. Come, throw me a zap, wait until I tell you literally no, Albert, and then go live your life. These other people on TikTok, they're like, what do you do? They're like, you look like this person. Yeah. It's like, the meatloaf is ready. Like, it's been ready. It's getting cold. Go eat the meatloaf. Yeah, so like Sylvia, she said they're talking about the other embalmers and waiting for them to come forward. Listen, what I said before, it's like you have the mechanism. Like I said, it's like people don't want to lose their position they don't want to threaten themselves. They don't want to risk it. People are afraid to speak out naturally because that's how they frame it. That's how the mechanism frames the whole game. It's like, you do this, you get destroyed. These people are trying to just protect themselves and insulate themselves. Some people are brave enough to come out, and that's beautiful. That's why the country and the world is the way that it is. It's good in so many ways. It's good for brave people, but some people, they feel like too much is at risk, and that's what happens. All right, The Satisfied Mind. Thanks for all your comments. It's been really fun. I know you have 14 followers. It's been nice knowing you. Peace. And you're blocked forever. Cool. Don't care. The guy chirped in the comments for 2 hours, and now he's blocked. Don't care, dude. Don't care. Don't care what you say. Don't care about your commentary. Don't care that you think that I'm disinformation. Don't care. Could care less what you think. Literally don't care. So, bye. See you never again. Don't care. Could care less. Now you can go sit alone with the meatloaf. Don't care. Like, congrats. He's triggered. It's like, nope, just got rid of you because I can do that, because that's the beautiful thing about all this. Al, yeah, Al. Ah. What about that freak in the energy department stealing luggage? Very true. Yeah, that guy is probably doing well. He's doing well. Glad to see that he's mentally stable. You're welcome, TikTok people. All right, I've been on here for 2 hours and 49 minutes. Thank you for supporting the channel. You can grab the shirt, the Literally No, or support the channel, hats, and all that stuff on bobbysauce.com. The code until 8 a.m. is sauce30 for 30% off any order, any amount, anywhere in the world. Sauce30 on bobbysauce.com. Go check it out. Grab some merch if you like. You want to support the channel. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that's been buying the badges. Thanks for everybody that bought that sent cash apps and donations. I really appreciate it. It's what keeps the channel going. I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate it so sincerely. please consider sharing the video. Go to followbobby.com after we get off, and make sure you follow me on all the socials. I may need more people to follow me on YouTube. Go to followbobby.com, follow me on YouTube. Go to bobbysauceshow.com and leave a comment and leave a rating for the show on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or on Amazon or wherever, and make sure that you help share the show by leaving a good rating. If you could, please, I'd appreciate it. bobbysauce.com, code is sauce30. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. bobbysauceshow.com to leave a comment or review, and go to followbobby.com to follow me on all of the social channels. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here, and I will catch you next time. All right, that's it. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitch. Thank you. Facebook, YouTube. I'll see you later. Twitch.